Sometimes our wives will ask questions. They'll say something that that brings it forth, that you kind of raises the issue that we need to provide some reassurance. There's a request for reassurance. And sometimes it's in the form of a statement, sometimes in the form of a question. And a lot of times as husbands, we'll miss it. We'll miss that that's what she needs, and we'll go a different path. We'll take a different angle, and it ends up hurting both of us in the end. We feel frustrated and failure because we missed, obviously. And wives are sort of left hanging because the reassurance they needed wasn't there. And so everybody's kind of like shrugged shoulders and there's pain. So starting point, request for reassurance, there is an ask. There is an ask. Sometimes it's a statement, sometimes it's a question. Oftentimes it's a statement like, hey, you're off. Something seems off. When a wife is saying that, or are you okay? What's going on with you? When a wife says something like that, it's less, especially in contextual to this process, right? Sometimes that's like, that has nothing to do with anything relative to this. Sometimes it's obviously connected to this. I'm talking about when it is a, actually, let me distinguish.
Hi, y'all. Sorry for the interruption. Hey, if these videos are helpful to you, I hope that you'll like and subscribe. And if you want more content like this, as well as live teaching calls with our team, hope that you'll check out the Worthy of Trust Academy. You'll find the link for that in the description. And now let's get back to the video.
Something there. If a wife is saying, hey, you're off, or what's going on with you, you don't seem right, that just has to do with, just assume that has to do with this, okay? And it may say, she may say like, you got that look on your face, you got a weird look on your face, like something doesn't seem right. The way I saw you interact with the kids, the way I heard you talk to your boss, the way you talked to me this morning, the way you set down your coffee on the desk or on the table, like something doesn't feel right. That, what we have to process as husbands is that is a request for reassurance. It's a request for reassurance. And there are a host of other ways that happens too, but I'm trying to clue us into this thing that we miss so often. A wife will say, Shelley, at my house, a lot of times what she'll say is like, hey, is everything okay? And that's language for a request for reassurance, all right? What happens a lot of times is there's an ask, and then our answer falls in one of two categories usually. The first is we answer like it's the invitation to share. And oftentimes what we share is how hard things are for me. We'll launch into how hard this is for me, or like where I am in my processing. And when it's a request for reassurance, it's not the same thing as an invitation to process. He goes into, this is what I'm thinking about, and this is how hard, I'm really trying, but it doesn't seem to be working. And, I seem to always deliver wrong, and how hard this is for me. And that wife was needing reassurance in both of those cases. The wife's needing reassurance, and a husband saying, this is how hard things are for me. That didn't provide more reassurance. That just created more insecurity, as you can imagine. So sometimes it's like we launch into what we feel like is an invitation to share, and we talk about how hard it is for us. It's real that it's hard. I'm speaking to all the husbands. It's hard. It really is hard, and we get it. We've lived it. Like it's hard. It's still hard in my house some days. It is hard, but there is a space and a time and a context for a wife to be able to hear your struggle with the process. And when she's needing reassurance, that's not the time. All right. The second thing that happens, just in terms of easily, like an easy miss, if you will, is that we try to save her from what is going on inside of us, sometimes really sincerely. Like we're just trying to keep our mouth shut and process what we're experiencing rather than pop off with something hurtful or say something condescending or do what we normally do, being defensive. We're just trying to like process for a minute. And so what we'll say is, nope, I'm fine. I'm fine. Right? We won't tell her that we're processing. We'll just say, I'm fine. I'm just listening. I'm just trying to hear what you're saying, which is true, but it's also not necessarily the whole truth. And here's the thing, when you say something like, She says, you're off, and you go, no, I'm not. I'm fine. Or, hey, what's going on with you? Nothing, I'm just processing. First and foremost, you got to recognize that's a lie. Right? Something is going on with you, and you're doing more than just processing. If you're in your head trying not to spout off and say something hurtful or be defensive, say that. Don't say I'm processing and try to veil it, because she already knows. All right? She already knows something's going on, or she wouldn't have said something, right? The other thing about that is, so it's a lie to say I'm fine. It's also saying you're wrong. And so at worst, like, you're violating her intuition all over again, right? Even if you feel like, no, actually, I feel like I am fine. I'm not sideways right now. Like, I actually feel pretty grounded and I'm connected to what's happening right now. Even if that's the truth, when you say, no, you're wrong, you're violating her intuition. She senses something. And so being able to, like, engage that they're in her intuition, she's sensing something. It may just been the way that you set down your coffee on the table. Something doesn't feel right. You got to validate that and engage that. That's where some of that reassurance comes in. That request for reassurance in those moments, again, sometimes they're so easy to miss. Sometimes too, they're just logistical in nature, right? This is how I miss sometimes at my house too. Sometimes they're just legit. A wife goes, hey, what's your day look like? Or she goes, hey, what time do you think you'll be home? Or what time do you need to leave in the morning? Will you be able to pick up the kids from school? Sometimes it's logistics, but it's not just logistics. It's actually a request for reassurance. And that requires a different engagement than the logistics, okay? And some guys are sitting here going, well, how am I supposed to know the difference? You default to, you err on the side of its request for reassurance. You can't decipher. Sometimes she doesn't even know. Sometimes she's saying, hey, what's your day look like? And she doesn't even realize that her heart is longing for just a little bit more security, because the vagueness of your calendar today creates some uneasiness. She can't even articulate that today. She just, it's in her head is, what's your day look like? So for us as husbands, we're just going to err on the side of, this isn't all about logistics. These are like what commonly happens that then gets things sideways, right? And on the backside of one of these answers, you know that it was a request for reassurance when it heats up. It becomes really obvious at that point. Because when he goes, this is really hard. I'm just processing how, I'm struggling with my emotions, I'm trying to say the right things at the right time, and do, all that kind of stuff. And then she's just going, that it was a request for reassurance. Same thing down here. No, I'm fine, really, that seemed okay. And she's going, you don't seem okay. The way you set your coffee down, the tone of your voice, the look in your face, the way your glasses sit on your face today, don't seem like you're okay. And now we're heating up. Obviously, a need for reassurance. And what happens for a lot of guys is we double down. No, really, I'm fine. I promise I'm fine. Right? Or then on this one where guys will go is, okay, what? I'm like, I can't share my feelings. Tell me all the time, share my feelings. You say I got to be in touch with my feelings. But when I share my feelings, then I get punished for it. Blah. Don't do that, because we're just creating more insecurity. What's needed in that moment is tap the brakes, take a deep breath, sit on your hands, bite your tongue, and just like breathe first. Get some oxygen to your brain so that we can engage differently. Okay? There's a tell that happens about where a husband is in his processing, where his head and heart is, by the way that we respond. When there's a request for reassurance, whether it's overt, like, hey, I need some reassurance that things are okay right now, or covert, right? You're off. What's going on? There's a tell. There's a self-focus versus our being focused on our wife. All right. And it comes in the way that we respond. Self-focus, the response to a need for reassurance, the self-focus says, I'm going to tell you like what you need in terms of reassurance so that I'm not the bad guy, right? So that I don't get in trouble here. Versus a wife focus is saying, I'm going to tell you what you need for reassurance so that you feel safe or safer. And the texture matters here. Like your heart matters here. There are some places where it's like the texture is, like it's not that big a deal, let's say. And then there are places where the texture of it matters so much because for a wife, whether she conceptualizes it or not, she's hanging on the texture of that interaction. Like her heart is like in the balance with the texture of that interaction. And we respond out of, I don't want to be the bad guy here, I want to get in trouble, versus I just want you to be okay. Not so that I'm okay, but so you're okay. Like, every wife knows the difference in that. And so I'm speaking to the guys, your heart matters here. I can't stress it enough. If you're walking around and you're self-focused, how do I stay out of trouble? How do I just not make things worse? How do I play to not lose today? Then when she needs reassurance, you're going to be doing gymnastics to CYA. Everything that comes out will be an explanation and a justification and possibly a rationalization. And I can come up with more Asians if you'd like me to. Like, it's not going to go well. If you're walking around in the mindset of like damage control and save face and just don't make it worse, you're playing to not lose, it's gonna blow up. You're gonna lose. Because when she needs reassurance, you're just gonna be trying to somehow cover you to not be the bad guy again. Right? And so this shows up, I'm going back to these examples. This shows up, a wife goes, hey, what's your day look like today? And the husband will go, well, I'm going to go to work and have meetings and do what I normally do and deal with this angry customer. And why? It's a normal day. And it's like there's a texture in that of, like, I'm exasperated that you're asking, and I'm not doing anything to. I'm not in trouble here, am I? Like, why are you kind of accusing me? And that it's just going to come across the wire that way and blow y'all up, right? So similarly, she says, "What's going on with you? You seem off with the kids." And he goes, "Man, this is really hard. I mean, I'm trying to parent. I don't want them to turn out like me, and blah blah blah." And then she goes, I know, but why are you so angry? Well, you just seem so like you're, hair triggered today. And then he goes, rather than moving here, he goes here and goes, hey, look, I'm trying. Like, we're in the program. I'm willing. I'm listening. I'm showing up. I'm trying here. And it's like all about me, right? And the texture matters. Your heart matters on this. Okay. A lot of times guys will say to me, like, yeah, but Jason, she just assumes the worst. Like, if my face is off, if I set my coffee down wrong, if she says I'm off, if I say it's hard for me, she just assumes the worst. Yeah, she does. Of course she does. Why wouldn't she? Right? Why wouldn't she? I think some of y'all that wear glasses, you can relate to this. Sometimes you get like a speck of dust or an eyelash or something on your glasses, and it's like you don't really notice it, but every so often the light hits your lens, or you see something and you're like, oh, and then you kind of look silly because you're like this, you're not cross-eyed, but you see the little eyelash on there, a little speck on there, but you look past it. Right? And sometimes you take your glasses off and you're like, oh man, my glasses are filthy and there's these big chunks. But when your glasses are on up close, you don't even see the little speck. And then sometimes your glasses are totally like smudged and nasty. And it's like, you can't see anything until you clean the glasses off. And sometimes for us as husbands, when a wife needs reassurance, we process what she's seeing the world, like the lens she's seeing the world through. We process that like there's a speck on the lens. And like our response to that is, can't you see past the speck on the lens? Can't you see past the eyelash? And the lens is a little dirty, but look past that. As opposed to like, no, she can't see through the lens because all she can see is the entirety and enormity of the story. When she says, you're off, when she says, hey, what's on your docket today? When something like that is coming up, it's a request for reassurance. It's not because she's just hyper-focused on the speck on the lens. It's because she can't see through the dirtiness of and the entirety of the whole thing. Right? We're not dealing with the moment. We're dealing with the entirety of the whole story. Okay. 3 things that I would name that we're dealing in reassurance. There's more, I'm sure, but I'm boiling it down to 3. So first is our integrity. So for some of us, there's been no acting out in years. That doesn't change that my opinion, unless a wife says, I don't need to know, but I don't need to hear that. I think reassurance about our integrity is important. It's probably been a couple months, maybe 3 months at our house. Anyway, every so often something will come up and I just internally feel that prompt of reassuring Shelly, like, hey, there are no secrets. There's nothing you don't know. I'm not sitting on anything. I'm not hiding anything. I got no face to save. My integrity is intact. Right? And so I understand that there's some, as a husband, you say that, she's going to go, stop. I've heard it too many times, and it always comes back to bite me when I try to believe you, and I get that. The texture matters. Your heart matters here. The difference, right? If I look at Shelley and go, hey, there's nothing going on, just so you know, like, there's no secrets, okay? Am I in trouble? Are we okay? Am I in trouble? Like, if that's what happens in that moment, that's gonna go south. It's gonna hurt us, right? Because that's about me, as opposed about her. Like, there are no secrets. I don't want you to be scared today. I don't want you to have that anxiety today. I don't want you to be jumpy today for your sake, not for mine. Right? That comes across the wire in the way that you say it, right? A wise person once said, like, your mouth is going to tell what's going on in your heart. Your words. And so guys get hung up on this. Side note, guys get hung up. They go, okay, so this is really about the words that I use and the way that I say it. No, it's not, because now you're wordsmithing. It's about what's going on in here, because here is going to come out here. It's not about wordsmithing. Jason, you're telling me I got to use the right words and I got to use them at the right time. No, I'm not. Over and over again, you'll hear us say, if you're connected to your heart, the words will come out the way they need to come out because it's out of that. And sometimes you won't even have the words, and your facial expression and your body language will say everything that's going on in there. Right? We hear this all the time, right? Wife asks a question, the husband goes, da-da-da-da-da, here's my answer. And it's the right answer. And then we look at her and she goes, I can just tell. And he doesn't believe what he's saying, or he doesn't mean that, or that's a lie, or whatever. I can just tell. How can you tell? I just sense it. His body language, the look on his face, I can just sense it. And it's like, she can, right? She can. Because what's in here is going to emanate out of here. Okay? So first and foremost, our integrity. The way that you say that matters. It's not about wordsmithing. It's about what's coming from here, right? Second, our awareness of ourselves. Our awareness of ourselves. Yeah, awareness of ourselves. Meaning, she needs reassurance that we are processing, we are aware of what's going on with us. And I think I talked about this last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, where for so many wives, if a husband just catches himself in the middle of what he's doing, or even right before, especially right before he's about to do whatever the thing is that he does that blows everything up, and just says, okay, hold on, time out, I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it right now. Like the reassurance that I'm on top of me. I'm I'm engaged and bringing God into and other people into what's going on. I'm staying on top of what's going on with me. I think that is a critical thing of reassurance. And that's where this does extra damage, is that when a husband's like not honest and a wife says, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? And he goes, yeah, I'm fine. Why? And the truth is he doesn't really know what's going on with him, but he's not really fine. It shows her you're not aware of what's going on with you. And for a wife, that translates to the other shoe's going to drop. When I see that you don't know what's going on with you, insecurity starts to generate, like it just starts to churn. Some wives, you go into shutdown mode. Some wives go into clamp down mode and like control something to make sure that my heart is okay, because this is not end well for me when you aren't aware of you, right? And what we're talking about here, don't forget, just make sure we're all on the same page. When I'm talking about like things aren't going to go well, that may be act out. But for most people here, it's not about whether you're going to act out again. It's really about whether you're going to act in, which for some wives is going to come with withholding love. Right? It's going to come with punishment in the form of blame shifting and criticism. Right? Why are you on my case? Why can't you give me credit for trying? At least I'm showing up. It's the first time in 30 years I've shown up. Right? It's going to come with withholding love. Like now I'm going to pull back. I'm not going to be close to you, near you physically, relationally, intimately. I'm just like pulling back. Blame, like all that kind of stuff. What I'm saying there is like, it's not just that a wife goes, oh, automatically he's going to act out. Although for some that's true, but more often it's, uh-oh, now he's going to act in. He's going to do something to hurt us, which means it's going to hurt me. Never mind that he's going to act out, which again, we don't want that, right? But it starts more here than it does here for most wives. It's just not going to go well, right? I was talking with a wife a couple days ago, and I said, she said, I'm really struggling. This is hard. And I said, have you shared that with him? And she's like, I'm not sharing that with him. That's just going to hurt me. And, in my head, I'm going, no, he needs to hear the gravity of this. He needs to hear the weight. He needs to hear, like, the hurt in this. And she was just like, not doing it. Not doing it. Not because he'll cheat on me, but because he'll punish me. And, and acting in also happens with the kids. Like, they'll pay for me being vulnerable with him. Because he'll be short with them on their homework. He'll be rude to them at dinner. He'll withhold love from them when it's time to tuck them in tonight. For a lot of wives, the litany of how this is going to hurt me runs like constant there. It's like a ticker tape across the bottom of the screen. Am I about to get criticized? Am I about to get punished? Is he going to withhold love from me, from the kid? Is this going to show up? And is he going to do something with our money? Is he going to do something to act out? Like, there's a ticker tape running. So back to our premise, reassurance, a request for reassurance, my integrity is intact, but also I'm practicing that. I'm watching what's going on with me. And if the truth is you haven't been, say that. Say that. Because she already knows. It's not a surprise. She would rather you just be really honest about that. Because if you say, yeah, well, things are fine, and she goes, wait a minute, you're not connected to yourself? Yeah, I am. Then she's going to go into, most wives, like this is how it shows up in the office, right? It's like most wives are going to go, okay, tell me then, show me, prove it. And then I'm going to get, one of us is going to get involved and go, let me help you. Will you please show her your journal? Journal? I left it in my truck. My truck's not here. Okay, that's cool. To just tell her, you didn't write anything down, that's okay. Just tell us about how you've been processing the 3 I's. Oh yeah, 3 I's. Yeah. Ignorant, insufficient, and you can't even name the 3 I's. It's obvious you haven't been processing them. Okay, but you know what? That I probably didn't explain it very well. Why don't you just tell us how you've been processing your emotions? Yeah, I've been feeling pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, hard, sad, but good. Right? You're killing me, right? Okay, number 3. Third, reassurance about your connection to her experience. Reassurance about your connection to her experience. So if he's connected to his heart, then this can become empathy and connection to her heart. That's where this stuff comes in. Your connection to her experience, like, this is the antithesis of betrayal. I want to make sure everybody gets that. If you were deeply connected, if I had been deeply connected to my wife's experience, I wouldn't have betrayed her the same way. I wouldn't have betrayed her the way I betrayed her. Because if I was so deeply connected to what this will do to her, to the years that it'll take away, to the dignity that it will shred, to the insecurities it'll double down on, not to mention the new ones it'll create, to the anxiety that it'll contribute to. If I was deeply connected to her experience, I wouldn't have done the things to her the same way. And so as wives need reassurance, they need reassurance that we are connected to their experience. For you to be the first one to say, hey, I know going to the beach is a struggle, let's just say. I know going to the beach is a struggle because of what I've done. I know that's hard for you to go there, even though we're just going to be with the grandkids so they can build sandcastles. It's hard for you to be there. So how about if we create a different vacation for our families this year? Because y'all are the grandparents that pay for everybody to go on vacation. It's fun. Okay, let's go to the mountains, not the beach this year. For you to be the first one to say, hey, I'm connected to your experience. I want to reassure you, I'm thinking about your experience of things. Whenever she goes, hey, what's your day hold today? Oh, a bunch of free time on my calendar is scary because of what I've done. I get it. Let me walk you through my day, because it's not as much free time as it looks like. Hey, could you be the one to pick up the kids? Because I need to take care of something. Oh, okay. Your experience is that you always have to clean up behind me because my ADD takes us off the rails, or my dismissiveness takes it off the rails, or you've always been the one to make sure that our household operates because I've been out doing the crap that I've been doing. I'm connected to that. Yeah, I'll cancel whatever I got to cancel to get the kids today. I'm connected to your experience. Not, don't miss this, y'all, not, panic. Yeah, let me cancel a meeting and I'll get there. Because I don't want to be the bad guy. Not that. I want you to feel safe. I want you to feel secure. You need reassurance that you and the kids are my priority, that this recovery is my priority. I'll move mountains to get there to pick the kids up if that's what you need. Right? And every so often a situation like that will come up and a husband will go, and did you know what she really needed to do was just go get her nails done? I had to move important meetings so that she could go get her nails done. Whew, what a blessing. What a sweet thing that you can move mountains for her to get her nails done. Let me say that differently. What a sweet thing that you can sacrifice for her self-care all day. It's the least I can do. That's where I want you to be as a husband. That's where I want you to be in your mind and your heart all day. Right? So when we're talking about reassurance, talking about these things. My integrity, not just my integrity, my experience of myself, and your experience too. Because if I'm connected, here's reality. If I'm connected to these things, if I'm engaged at these levels, I'm probably not going to do this. And this is going to slowly change for some of us faster than others, but this is going to change. I mean, this is life work anyway, y'all, but this is going to change. It's going to be evident in my life. Defensiveness is going to go down. Rationalization is going to go down. I'm going to spend less time making you meet my emotional needs because this is so hard for me. Like when I'm dialed in here, everybody knows it. So when I think playing not to lose, or playing to not lose, however you want to say that, that's weird semantically, isn't it? Anyway, what I think is, it's, everybody knows I'm not a huge sports guy, but I think, in a sports analogy, playing not to lose means I'm just playing huge defense. Everything is safe. I'm not taking risks. I'm just doing like the basic thing that I have to do so that it doesn't go badly, which generally ends up in it going badly. So contextual to our thing here, let me tell you what that looks like at my house. I don't initiate a conversation when I'm playing to not lose. I don't initiate a conversation where I say, hey, have there been any triggers? Is there anything, Shelley, that's come up that you want to talk about? Because I want to talk about it if you want to talk about it. That's risky as all get out, right? I mean, that's like, I'm opening up, my chest cavity to feel the pain and, the shame all over again. And I'm also inviting her to do that, which is super vulnerable both ways. I won't take that risk if I'm playing not to lose. When it comes to things around specifically recovery around integrity, right? I'm doing things passively or defensively. I'm not doing things like on the offensive. For example, I might change where I go for lunch, or I might not go to that Starbucks because that Starbucks has, people with a different dress code clearly. So I don't go to that. Well, that's good. That's not bad or wrong, but that's defensive. What would be offensive there, not offensive, offensive, everybody understand, is I don't go to that, but you know what? I'm also practicing seeing people as humans in the image of God, likeness, not objects, not utility. Like I'm practicing, men and women, I'm practicing developing that mind of Christ. That would be like playing to win, not just playing to lose, not to lose, right? Over here, when a wife says, hey, I need some reassurance in whatever form that takes. Hey, I need some reassurance. I'm going to try to give you what you need in the most succinct way possible so it doesn't spider web into other conversations because that'll blow us up. So I'll be real quick to be the one to say, well, I haven't acted out in 2 years. And you know what? I just go to work and come home. That's all I ever do. And when you need milk, you have to get it because I don't. So just so you know, everything's on the up and up. And it's all defense. So we're all developing. One day I'm going to have like 19 whiteboards and like a panorama camera. Right? We can always fall back on humble ownership. First and foremost, humble ownership. That like, first and foremost, I said it again, I'm really trying to be conscious of that. We can always fall back on humble ownership. You're right, I didn't do it. I haven't been engaged. I mean, this is not manipulative, so everybody track with me here, right? There's a biblical principle that says a humble and contrite heart the Lord will not despise, and it's the same way for wives. Right? A wife does not despise a humble and contrite heart. When she goes, you're off. No, I'm not. You haven't done your homework. Yes, I have. I'm doing it again. I'm doing the thing I always do. I didn't follow through on what I need to follow through on to be the man that I need to be, and you're calling me on it. Instead of just humbly owning it, I'm defending it. The truth is I just didn't do it. Right? So one is humble ownership, right? Second thing is I think about how to kind of characterize this or sum this up. The only word that's coming to mind right now is honor. You know what else is coming to mind? Dignity. Honor and dignity. When a wife says, like, you didn't do the homework, like, I know that you're off, I know that you didn't, that kind of thing. There is a reality in that moment, and I think in some ways it really is this polarized or bifurcated, however you want to put it. In that moment, we're either like weaving in threads of like dignity, or we are like shredding it, right? And so when we do that jockeying for, give me credit, well, I did a little bit, I tried, I didn't understand what the assignment was. When we do that stuff, we're just degrading her dignity and dishonoring her. And a lot of guys get hung up in like, yeah, I'm trying to negotiate how this affects me, like how bad I feel. But we miss that we're actually either building up or degrading her in that moment. Right? And so I'm just speaking for me, when I have that top of mind, when I'm consciously connected to the way that I engage her is either building up and like sewing in, or it is shredding her dignity and honor, that changes my engagement. Don't forget that this is one part skill development and one part sanctification, right? Humble ownership is on some level skill development. A ubiquitous broken character trait is we don't do a very good job of humble ownership. If humble ownership were a really strong muscle, a really like well-refined skill and a deep character trait that we had, we wouldn't be hanging out. Because the first iterations of doing things that were off the rails would have been met with our humble ownership. We would have waved the white flag of surrender and immediately gone to, I need help because I'm not about bad things, I'm good days, and I need somebody to lead me in a different direction. So this is one part skill development, this one part sanctification, like process oriented. I'm looking at this in two ways. I'm looking at this in like from her vantage point, given the acuteness of this moment, whatever this thing is that we're dealing with. But I'm also going around and looking at it from her vantage point in the totality of things. So I'm not going to stop at like, okay, I think I did that work. I think I did that work. I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to go on around and go to, okay, so how would this land with her? What I know and what she's experienced of me as it pertains to this thing, how's that going to land? And then also in the grand scheme of where we are, how is that going to be experienced by her? Not because, so just nuance, not because I want to manage her emotional outcome and get an A on my report card, but because I want her to feel safe. Right? And for all of us, our effort in that, we got to be careful. And there's an internal thing that has to happen there where I sort of have to navigate around. I'm doing this to manage the emotional outcome versus I'm doing this for her sake.